Hello everyone, this is Sharon and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this crossbody bag with fringe. For this project, I'll be using an ester 8-ply yarn, and it says here that the recommended size for this yarn is a 4mm crochet hook. So now I'm gonna work a slip knot, and I'm gonna start chaining up until I get the width for my bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. After chaining 40, add 3 more chains. So 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th chain from hook, work your second double crochet, and then 1 double crochet into each of the next chains across, except for the last chain. Now, once you get to the very last chain, that's when you're gonna work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And after you have 3 double crochets into the last chain, this will turn our work to the opposite side. So into the next available stitch, you're gonna work 1 double crochet into each stitch across, and then I'll show you how to end this round 1. Right, so once you have worked double crochets across, now into the very last stitch, you will see there that there are already 2 double crochets. So we're gonna add just 1 more to complete the 3 double crochets in 1 stitch. This is the same as the other end that also has 3 double crochets, and then you will see that it has formed an oval shape. Now I think I'm gonna stop increasing at this point, and then in the next few rounds I will be just starting to work 1 double crochet in every stitch. So to start, I'm gonna chain up 3 and then 1 double crochet into each stitch around, and then I'm going to work a slip stitch once I get back around on top of the 3rd beginning chain. Now I am almost finished with the 2nd round, and I'm doing my last double crochet. Now I'm going to work my slip stitch on top of the 3rd beginning chain. So round 2 is done. We're just going to repeat round 2 a few more times until you get the height of the bag that you want. Okay, so I did about 4 rounds of 1 double crochet in every stitch, and you keep doing that until you get the height that you want for the bag. And because I'm going to switch to a new color probably after after working 5 rounds of the same color, then I'm gonna switch to another color. So this is already 5 rounds. And to get to the next round, I am going to use the ester ply yarn. This is 8-ply, it's polyester, and I am going to start switching onto a different color, and then I'm going to just cut this yarn off. What I usually do when I change the color is that I would finish slip stitching into a different color. So before I close off the last round, that's when I insert the new color, and I'm going to insert the hook into the top beginning third chain. I'm going to catch this new color here, and I'm going to pull the tail of the green yarn, and then I'm going to tie off both tails at the back, and then I'm gonna start chaining 3, which counts as 1 double crochet, same as what we did in the second round, where we do 1 double crochet in every stitch. And I'm just going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch around, and as always I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the beginning third chain to close off every round. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna show you how to add the D-ring after that. I did 17 rows of 1 double crochet into every stitch around, and then I keep changing colors after every 6th row. So I have 5 rows of solid colors, and then when I reach the 1 to 4th color, I'm going to work a few 1 single crochet in every stitch for 2 rounds, and then I'm going to insert the rings. It could be O-rings if you'd like, or in my case I'm using D-rings. So to start, I'm going to chain 1 single crochet into the same stitch, 1 single crochet into every stitch around. So that is just how simple it is to make this particular bag. Alright, so when I get to the end of the round, slip stitch on top of the first single crochet made. Now for the second round, I'm going to insert the D-ring, and to insert that, I'll make sure that they're both. So I'm going to arrange this one a bit, making sure that the sides are aligned. Okay. Now maybe I'll attach the D-ring somewhere here. So I'm going to first chain 1 single crochet into the same stitch, and then maybe I'll add the D-ring somewhere here. So I guess I'll be working around 1 single crochet in every stitch until I have about 4 stitches within the D-ring. So you might add more if you want to make it sturdy. So I think I'll add 1 more so that I have 5 single crochets into the ring. So now I'm just going to continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch. So that's how I insert the D-ring. and then I will keep continuing working one single into every stitch until I get to the other corner, and then I will attach the other one. Okay, now I'm finally at the other corner, so I'm going to insert this D-ring here. So that is how easy it is working around the D-ring, and then work my last single crochet in there. You can add more if your D-ring is much bigger than mine. And then after that, I will just keep on working one single crochet into every stitch, and I'm going to work 2 more rounds so that I will have a total of 4 rounds of one single crochet into every stitch. So I'm about to finish the second round of one single crochet into every stitch, and I always slip stitch on top of the very first single crochet, and then I chain one single crochet into the same stitch, one single crochet into each of the next stitch around, and so into every stitch here we're still gonna work one single crochet into every stitch. I am finally on my last stitch, and I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of the first single crochet made, and then the next step is we're gonna work rows for the flap of this bag. Maybe 5 rows of 1 double crochet across, and then that is when I'm gonna work the fringes right over this part here. Alright, since I'm going to change color, I'm going to just chain 1 and fasten this off, and then I'm using a different color of yarn. I guess I'm gonna use some green, I guess. I'm gonna go back to using the green one. To start, I'm going to count the rows on this side. I'm going to work a slip stitch, and you can vary the tail as you work with a few stitches. So I'm going to chain 3, and then into the next stitch, that's where I'm going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch across. So I did my first row of double crochets, and this is how I'm going to end the row, but make sure that they're even, like in this one. So this is where the D-ring is, and I want this D-ring to be on this side, and then as you can see I just eyeballed it. Now on this side I'm gonna do the same. I'd probably work my last double crochet up to here, there you go. So as you can see, I think I need more, maybe 2 more stitches. So if you think that it's enough, then you can continue working the flap for the bag. all you need to do is you're gonna work chain 3, which counts as 1 double crochet on top of this last double crochet here, and then you're going to turn, and then into the very next stitch, that is where you're gonna start working your second double crochet. So we will be repeating working 1 double crochet in each stitch, and to make sure that the flap is even, make sure that they have the same number of double crochets in every row. Alright, so I have worked my 2 rows of 1 double crochet in every stitch, and do not forget to work your last double crochet into the last double crochet below, and then make sure that the flap will not be too much, because sometimes it might be over the edge here. If that happens, then you should reduce the size of your flap. So sometimes it's a trial and error in here, but you can definitely adjust it to make sure that the flap will be even with this width here. The width here should be equal to the width of this flap. Now I'm gonna work a few more rows until I guess it's like this long, so I will need like maybe 8 more rows until I get to this length, or maybe a bit shorter if I want, so that I will have a longer fringe that will end until here. So I'm going to show you how many rounds I made next. So I did about 5 rows of 1 double crochet in every stitch, and I'm going to stop right there and work my last row. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chain 3, chain 1 for the chain space, skip a stitch, and into the next one I'm gonna work a double crochet. So I'm going to repeat that by working chain 1, skip a stitch, and then work 1 double crochet into the next. So I will be repeating that until I get to the other end, or until I finish the last stitch. Alright, so I am almost finished, and I'm going to chain 1, skip the stitch right here, and into the last stitch, which is the chain 3. That's where I'm going to work my last double crochet. So after this, you can now chain 1 and fasten off. And that's the time that you can now add fringes. So with the other bag that I showed you in the picture, I added the fringe, and the length of the fringe is the same as the bottom of the bag. Now for the fringe, you're gonna need a cardboard, and you're going to wrap the yarn around this cardboard. Make sure that you get the length that you want for the fringe, and that will make the length of the fringe that you would want. If you want to make it longer, add an additional 1 inch, so that later on, after wrapping it around the yarn, and you will have an allowance to trim them, making sure that they're even. continue adding more until every hole is filled up. So in my next clip, I'm going to show you after I'm done putting all the fringes. So this is what it looks like after adding the fringe. You can make it longer if you want, but in my case I think it's better if the length is an inch apart from the bottom of the bag. Yeah, and you can make it into a solid color. I did the first one in solid color. With this one, I used about 4 colors. This is the back side. As you can see, I worked double crochets in rows, then the last 4 rows in rounds I did a single crochet in every stitch. Then on the front, that's where I started working in rows. I did about 6 of it, and in my last row I showed you how I did this blocks of empty squares so that I can add the fringes on it. So that's how easy it is. Now for the bottom part of this bag, you can make it wider if you want. Just add an increase into the second round. For the strap, you can chain up to 200 and then try to measure it over your shoulder down to your waist so that you can decide how many chains you need. After chaining, on the 4th chain from hook, you're gonna work your second double crochet and then start working 1 double crochet in each of the chains until you get to the last one. In here, I am working my last remaining chains. After this, I'm going to just chain 1 and fasten off. So next clip, we're going to attach this strap into the D-ring. So in here I'm almost at the end of working my last single crochets to secure the strap, and after this just weave in all the ends and we're done. By the way guys, I made 2 other video tutorials on bags with fringes. I have 2 other versions that you might want to check back. I will add the link in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.